This is the Data Privacy Detective. Now, do you think of your car or your truck as a huge mobile computer? Well, we're going to talk about this today because you should think of your car, of course, as a way to get from here to there. One of the great things of the modern age, this freedom to travel. Get in our car and go. But we should think of our vehicle today, our modern vehicle, also as being a giant online data device. And like any other online device, it's vulnerable to hackers, viruses, malware, bugs, all of the things that become objectives and ways for cyber criminals to get our personal information and misuse it. Now, unlike your laptop or your desktop or smartphone, a car can be cyberjacked. Yes, criminals can shut down remotely a car's critical systems and can even cause your vehicle to drive off the road and crash at the remote command of a cyber criminal. That's something to think about. Now, there are numerous ways that a cyber criminal can hack into your vehicle's data system. Let's start with your key. That used to mean a piece of metal you put in the door and turned it, and today we have key fobs, and they're replacing metal keys. Now, key fobs are wireless devices. They can be hacked and replicated and can allow not only a break-in to the car, but can allow a thief to drive away with the car and have access to all of the personal property and information held within your vehicle. And key fob ranges. There are ways for thieves to use radio repeaters and other devices to extend the range of a key fob, unlocking your car when you were 30 feet or more away. So there are ways they can do this, and you see a rise in car thefts from basically what amounts to key fob hacking. Well, that's one simple way. Then there's the connection we use to our smartphones. Many of us will plug them in and connect them when we get in the car. I hope before you turn on the engine and start driving while you're parked. But we do that and we connect, and there are great benefits to this, of course. And let's face it, smartphones have much better built-in and managed personal security and privacy protection than onboard car infotainment systems. But when a smartphone is connected to a vehicle, it too is then subject to being hacked, with the thief entering the car, not through the smartphone hacking, which is hard enough for cyber criminals, but through the lesser safety protections that are often provided by vehicle makers. Because they don't think necessarily that a car is anything more than a vehicle. They don't think about it. I shouldn't say this completely, but a car is a car. It isn't a computer. And yet it has computers within it beyond the scope of imagination of even 10 years ago. Now, there are many ways that the things that are there for good purpose within a car create entry points for hackers. Take your tire pressure monitoring system. Good idea. Your right rear tire needs air. Good idea. Obvious safety feature for us to know that. But that monitoring system is an online data stream. And that can be hacked into by a cyber criminal. And that in turn can deal with stop at your nearest place where you might get robbed. Disabling brake pedals, that can be done. You know what makes brakes work in modern vehicles? It's little microprocessors. Some people think there are thousands of computers if you think of different pieces within a vehicle. And microprocessors are what make brakes work, but it also means that they're part of a data stream that can be hacked into and can be managed to turn off brakes. or otherwise manage brakes for malpurposes. Manipulating diagnostic system reports. Diagnostic system reports are a normal feature of a modern mechanic shop or a dealer. Well, unscrupulous shops can manipulate us through misuse of diagnostic system reports, reporting problems that aren't there, or could be worse, reporting that all is well, and you charged a fee for that, and actually things aren't as good as they think. Then there's one that one wouldn't ordinarily think of, MP3 malware. Now, MP3 is for audio streams, and your infotainment system in a car. The inputs into the system can include malware that then infects your car and your data streams. Something we wouldn't think about, would we? We're tuning into our favorite streaming audio channel. And then there's just our smartphone connection. When we charge it through the vehicle, we're also connecting it to the vehicle. So our vehicle becomes a connected vehicle. And that means to the entire data stream on our smartphone. Well, what does that mean? That means one shouldn't download untrusted apps or use them through our car's web browser. In fact, I would recommend not using a web browser within the vehicle itself. Instead, while you're parked, use your mobile phone to plug in where you want to get from here to there. And using your smartphone to manage the car's entertainment system is far better than a freestanding car infotainment system from a privacy standpoint. Well, September 6, 2024, the American Automobile Association, AAA, posted a great post on how our computers within our cars can cause real problems if we're not safety conscious and we don't do things to prevent cyber attacks of our vehicle. Our computers, are protected with antivirus software, and our mobile devices can use encryption techniques as well to keep our data safe. But vehicles that are connected are increasingly becoming attractive targets for malicious hackers, ransomware attackers, and others. And this is in part because, in general, online car data streams are less secure than our smartphones and our desktops and our laptops that are backed by our company products and Google or Microsoft or whoever you may use for your data streams that try to have very strong privacy protection built into them, not so much for vehicles. Well, is your connected car hackable? The simple answer is highly likely yes. And this isn't new. 9 years ago, Andy Greenberg of Wired magazine wrote a column on hackers remotely kill a Jeep on a highway. That was 9 years ago. And now this was a white hat hacker incident who was cooperating with the driver. But the driver lost control of the vehicle and off it went, and no one got injured. All went well. But it was just to say, yes, remotely one can hack. In this case, it was a Jeep. Now, that risk may be low, so keep driving. But cyber criminals are becoming more proficient at finding entry points into personal data streams. They may not intend to drive you off the road, but vehicle access may be less hard to hack well than our well-guarded desktops and laptops and smartphones. Now, it's far more common for data thieves to access personal data that's inside your vehicle for a different reason than driving you off the road. It's to steal your identity, to get passwords, your social security numbers, all the things that can be stored within your system, or even just adjust settings inside the vehicle. So let's talk about some of them. Now, we talked about the key fob, the remote keyless entry. And this is based on an RF signal that's emitted by a key fob, and that can be spoofed To unlock doors, turn the engine on and off, or steal your vehicle. Now, if you want to protect your key fob and block any signal from a cyber thief, you can carry your key fob in what's called a Faraday or a Faraday bag. Now, this is a signal blocker for car keys, and it prevents thieves from cloning the key signal to then steal the car or get into your car. And it hides the key and coded information, so it can't be electronically copied by a thief. Not a bad idea if you're willing to have a little bag in addition to your keychain or wherever you keep your key fob. Onboard browsers and apps. Well, a vehicle's onboard web browser or app store might have built-in security measures, but again, they're not likely to be have the level of security that you find on your own smart devices. So, like for those, clear your browsing history, delete unnecessary apps. Don't keep data that you don't need to have. How about your Wi-Fi network within a car? Well, many modern vehicles come with onboard Wi-Fi. And for that reason, it's important to ensure that your network cannot be discovered in an easy way by unknown users. So if your car or your truck has Wi-Fi access, don't store your password in the vehicle, and make sure you're taking security measures that you would take otherwise to protect your personal information. USB ports. Let's talk about that for a minute. Convenient for charging, and that's what we often do with our car, in our smartphone when we're in a car. But remember, that can connect you to your smartphone to the internal systems within your vehicle, giving hackers access to other areas of your vehicle. Maybe you don't need to charge your phone while you're in your car. And be aware of devices beyond your smartphone that you may connect to your vehicle's USB ports. Whenever you do that and you're connecting a data stream to the vulnerability of your vehicle. You can use a USB anti-data hacker in ports where you'd like an added layer of protection, such as at an airport or a public Wi-Fi spot. Same could be true in a car. Well, there are a lot of ways to protect your vehicle from cyber attacks, and here are a few others. Of course, keep your software, your firmware, your systems updated to stay on top of any updates. Make sure you download them and install them. Make sure that when you're doing scheduled maintenance checks with your dealer or your mechanic, that you're up to date on all the latest versions of operating systems and drivers in your car's data stream system. Check on and read your manufacturer's communications that you get about updates and recalls, and take care of them, especially for your vehicle's onboard data systems. Secure your connected features of your vehicle, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, any other connectivity features. Lock them down, protect them, ensure that they're password protected. For key ones, they're using MFA if needed. I know that's an annoyance, but it's for your protection. Make sure they're undiscoverable to the extent they can be by untrusted devices. And turn the systems off when they're not in use. And, think data minimization. Limit the information that's stored in your vehicle. Don't store sensitive information, passcodes, passwords, home addresses, account numbers, financial information. You don't need those in your vehicle. Don't store them there. Use your smart devices where you have maximum protection to store your personal information that you need to keep. Well, let me turn to this point. A lot of this is information to individuals. We can all do things to protect our personal property, and which includes our privacy. and our personal information. That's property, belongs to us, unless we let it go. Well, what responsibility does a maker of a vehicle have and dealers have for offering privacy-centric features to vehicles that they're selling? Good question. Product liability laws in the United States for more than a century and product safety laws in many countries force manufacturers to build into their products basic safety features that save lives and prevent injuries. And so with automobiles, going back to Ralph Nader and before that, seat belts, airbags, things are built into cars now. They're not things you can optionally buy maybe when you buy a car. They're built in. And that's for good reason. And it saved many, many lives. And the costs get built into the price of a car. Shouldn't the same be true for essential personal information and privacy? Because after all, the car is a data collector and emitter. I would say that a vehicle should not be an obvious and vulnerable instrument for cyber criminals to run a vehicle off the road or to steal and misuse personal information unnecessarily. Things about key fobs. Why shouldn't they be offered with the Faraday bag or something like it to prevent what we've seen with the misuse of key fob data streams? For infotainment systems, why shouldn't they be designed to uphold safety standards that we expect and require of smartphones and laptops and desktops? Why can't they be designed for privacy rather than made optional for if people really want to protect their personal information? I think we all do, from misuse anyway. Auto and truck safety isn't only for crash worthiness, although that's the primary objective for good reason. It should encompass reasonable built-in protections for data streams that our vehicles create about us. And, reasonable standards should be created that limit the risks of connections through the vehicle system when we're connecting smartphones and other devices that hold important private information about us. And finally, manufacturers, want us to sign up now to give them data about our driving habits. Now, that's for good reason. That's so they can upgrade vehicle performance, learn from the vehicle that they're trying to make better for us, better for public safety, and all the rest. Let's recognize that. And that can build over time a very important positive AI database for product improvement for vehicles. But by providing that personal data to automobile makers and their affiliates, that shouldn't be turned against us. We've seen recent lawsuits where driving information was shared without consumer consent or knowledge with insurance companies and jack up the insurance rates because people have been speeding or going through a red light according to the data stream or whatever the problem may be. There are instances when if a vehicle is able to pick up the smell of alcohol on someone's breath, good thing. Maybe they ought to not let the engine be turned on. But it's another thing to provide that to law enforcement or an insurance company without the consent or knowledge of the person who's providing that data. Otherwise, they're going to turn it off. You have to have trust in building an AI database. And this is something that regulators, companies, and all of us all have a lot to gain if we work together on this and insert reasonable privacy by design into the making of and selling of a vehicle. Well, that's enough on this point for today. Best wishes with your vehicle. And as always, I will close by reminding us, protecting your personal privacy begins with you.